social class and family influences. Buying behavior of a customer depends a lot on the social class they belong to. Social class certainly exists in the world of consumerism. Though it remains a controversial concept with many competing definitions, many people believe in a simple three-class model that includes the rich, the middle class, and the poor. Many others deny its very existence in the strict sense of social class in the society. This lesson covers various aspects of social class and family influences on the buying behavior of the consumer. It follows from the previous slide that after studying this lesson, you should be able to analyze the concept of social class and social stratification, the marketing strategies pertaining to a social class, the family influences on buying behavior, the husband-wife and parent-child influences. Though social class is often measured in terms of social status or social stratification, both concepts are not equivalent. Status means the rank of an individual in a social system, as perceived by other members in a particular society. Social classes are dynamic, and social stratification can be of two types. In a closed system, people are born into a social class and cannot leave it. They inherit a status. On the other hand, in the open system, people have some opportunities to move upward or downward from one social class to another. An example of closed systems is furnished by India, where caste system has existed for thousands of years. The class system in India is inflexible. Social inequality is rigidly followed, and an individual's membership of a class is determined by birth in a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra family. The United States is said to have an open class system that offers moderate opportunities for mobility, and people can work to raise their status. It is almost impossible to point to a clear line of demarcation where one class changes to another. There is some blurring and overlapping of social strata. The most general categorization of social class structure can be put under three groups, namely upper class, middle class, and lower class. Rising prosperity has led to an explosion in the size of middle class in many developing countries, including India. As a result, the demand of typical middle class items such as washing machines, refrigerators, TVs, VCRs, stereo systems, and computers has risen in such countries. The middle class can be further divided, creating a total of 5 groups of social classes, namely upper class, upper middle class, middle class, lower middle class, and lower class. Such a division can be more useful to marketers for developing appropriate product and services targeting specific social class consumers. When measuring social class, the characteristics of the male father figure are more often used to represent the status of the children. But the rising cases of divorced step-parent and single parent looking at the father's income not only may be inaccurate and in some cases impossible. Therefore, when measuring the socio-economic status, it may be best to examine the characteristics of the person who heads the family, whether that person is a male or a female. Since social class is about more than just money, non-material resources and social environment also influence social class as well. Income is the most recognized form of measuring social class or socio-economic status, but it may not always be the best indicator. It is important to know the educational background of the consumers. Social environment is the third suggested contributor for measuring social class. This refers to the environment around people, especially that of family structure. Socioeconomic status of a person can be derived from a single measure or calculated from several variables relating to occupational status. Most often, single measure-based measures are derived from responses to questions on one individual's occupation. The upper class of most societies is a varied group of individuals who include the aristocracy, the new social elite, and the upper middle class. Aristocracy consists of traditional old money families who acquired great wealth and power and whose members live on inherited wealth, such as some of the Maharajas and old business families. The social elite are those who have acquired a great deal of wealth and status in their own lifetime. They tend to buy items that are known to be high-priced and can be publicly consumed or displayed, such as expensive cars, watches, and designer dresses. Upper-class consumers are also more likely to engage in careful information search before making a purchase decision, are less inclined to view price as an indicator of quality and rely on actual product attributes. Middle class is composed of primarily white-collar workers at managerial levels, moderately successful professionals such as doctors, lawyers, professors, owners of medium-sized businesses, and graduates who are likely to reach occupational status levels within a few years. An interesting distinguishing feature of middle class is that members of this group look to the upper class for guidance on certain behaviors such as apparel selection and leisure activities. Lower class comprises of poor people and generally represent a sizable population, particularly in the poorer developing countries. A large number of households in the poor class category live below the poverty line. They have difficulty in acquiring items such as food, medical care, and other things necessary for everyday living, and they perpetually struggle to somehow acquire these goods in the face of little or no income. Family is the most influential group for the consumer. The family member can strongly influence buyer behavior. It can be distinguished between two families in the buyer's life. One is the buyer's parents, who make up the family of orientation. From parents, a person acquires on orientation towards religion, politics, and economics, and a sense of personal ambition, self-worth, and love. The other is that family of procreation. The buyer's spouse and children exert a more direct influence on everyday buying behavior. Marketers are interested in the roles and relative influence of the husband, wife, and children on the purchase of a large variety of products and services. The purpose of this report is to discuss the role of the family in consumer behavior. There are three main elements directly affecting the family consumption. They are family life cycle, the structure of the family, and the family decision-making process. Joint decisions are more likely to operate in early stages of family life cycle when both spouses are relatively less experienced. After gaining experience, they usually delegate responsibilities concerning buying decisions to each other. When children enter the family scene, both husband and wife assume specific roles. The husband tends to be more influential in the early stages of the life cycle. However, the wife is likely to become increasingly influential after a period of time, more so if she is employed and having some financial leverage over family buying decisions. The influence of children on family decisions is more when they side with one of the parents. The relative influence of husband-wife or father-mother is likely to vary according to the nature of product, nature of purchase influence, and family characteristics. Davis and Regog undertook a detailed study of husband-wife influence by product category and classified products into four categories. Products for which the influence of husband tends to dominate the decision-making, for example, hardware, sports equipments, financial services, etc. Products for which the influence of wife tends to dominate the decision-making. Examples of such products are women's clothing, toiletries, groceries, etc. Products for which decisions are made by either the husband or the wife. Example, women's jewelry, toys and games, cameras and men's casual clothing, etc. And products for which husband and wife make joint decisions. For example, refrigerator, furniture, TV sets, carpets, financial planning, and family car, etc. Earlier, the decision about these products were viewed as relatively more husband-dominated. However, joint decision-making now reflects a greater influence of working wives. The differentiation of role is believed to result from small group interactions. Leaders that emerge take up either instrumental roles or expressive roles. Historically, the instrumental roles within the family has typically been associated with husband and expressive roles with wives. Thus, men tend to be task-oriented leaders while women lead in social-emotional behavior. Husbands tend to be more concerned with functional product attributes and are inclined to exert more influence on the purchase decisions. The third reason for variation in relative influence of husband-wife relates to family characteristics. Though husband and wife tend to dominate decisions for certain product categories, the degree of their dominance may vary within different families. In case of a patriarchal family, the father is considered the dominant member. Husband dominates decisions irrespective of the product category under purchase consideration. In the matriarchal family, the mother is the dominant member. Wife plays the dominant role and tends to make most of the decisions. Children are playing an increasingly important part in family decision-making. It is generally believed that children rely more on parents for norms and values as long as they are younger and subsequently on their peer group as they grow older. For a child, the family provides the basic framework in which consumer socialization takes place. Television may also be instrumental in exerting persuasive influence on what children see and how they react to certain brands. Lee Carlson and Sanford Grossbach have identified 4 types of parents in their study of parents' role in children's socialization. According to them, parents can be authoritarian, where they tend to exercise a high degree of control over their children and expect total obedience from them. Negligence, wherein they do not show much concern for their children, and neglect. Democratic, when they encourage a balance between their own and children's rights and encourage children's self-expression, and permissive, who believe in as much freedom as possible for children without putting their safety in jeopardy. To a large extent, the influence of children on the buying process varies depending much on their age and product category under purchase consideration. Now let us check if we have understood the various concepts discussed in this lesson clearly. Open system includes managers, moderate professionals. Wrong. Upper class includes the aristocrats. Right. Democratic parents give full freedom and rights to children minus responsibilities, but includes marketing of product and services on phone. Wrong. Before we end, let us briefly revise what we've studied till so far. Social class defines the ranking of people in a society into a hierarchy of distinct status class so that the members of each class have relatively the same status based on their power and prestige. Social class means societal rank based on one's position relative to others on one or more socio-economic dimensions valued by society. Important factors that determine the status in most societies include authority over others, political, economic, military, or religious power, ownership of property, income, occupation, lifestyle and consumption patterns, education, public service, ancestry, and connections. Consumers buy product not only for what they can do, but also for what they mean. Products and services are seen to possess personal and social meaning in addition to their functional characteristics. Social classes range in hierarchical order, and members of a social class perceive other classes as lower or higher in society. Members of the same social class tend to associate and interact with each other. Social class is a fair indicator of consumers' consumption patterns in a large number of products, categories such as fashion products, clothing, auto, liquors, shopping, home location, choice of child's school, college, credit card, and recreation, etc. Social class information is important to marketers to develop specific marketing strategy for different group of consumers. Social class measurements can be done through many factors: the occupation of adult members, education of the family members, and income of family matters a lot. The family or household is composed of 2 or more persons related by blood, marriage, or adoption living in an accommodation. Much depends on income limitations coupled with family responsibilities. Bachelors and newly married couples may have a significant discretionary income. The members of a family assume specific roles that also include the purchase decisions. When 2 or more members are directly or indirectly involved in purchase decision-making process, it is called family decision-making. Purchase decisions related roles include the influencers, gatekeepers, information gatherers, deciders, buyers, and users. The family provides the basic framework in which consumer socialization takes place. Parents' influence is substantial in their consumer socialization. Television may also be instrumental in exerting influence on what children see and how they react to certain brands. Brands patronized by parents and grandparents exert significant influence on younger people.